Hello, campers. Welcome to Gam30, the only show on YouTube dedicated to aging merchants who've blown their back out.
Oh, my back is killing me.
For those of you not in the know, the merchant is a character from Resident Evil 4 who acts as Big Shock, a merchant. That sentence also managed to cover his entire known backstory. But before we go over the scam, it's important to set some ground rules. First off, I'm only looking at guaranteed item spawns. Sorry to all you crow flashbanging enthusiasts. Maybe next time. Secondly, I'm only going to be talking about the remake. It's the only one I own. Maybe one day I'll look at the original if there's a big enough difference. Alright, so with that out of the way, we can move on to the scam. Beginning with the Pesestas themselves. Pesestas are a completely dead currency, with a horrific conversion rate of 1 Pesesta being worth 0.0066790,362 US dollars. That means to get one singular dollar from Pesestas, you would need 149.72 of them. However, Resident Evil 4 takes place in 2004. If you need a hint, look at the numbers. Which means that the Pesesta per dollar ratio is slightly different at 133.761 Pesestas per dollar. I'm gonna be rounding that to 134 Pesestas, because frankly, I'm a bitch and I don't want to calculate decimals all day. We'll use this as our base for future calculations. For example, Leon can sell the merchant a small gold bar for 10,000 Pesestas. Sounds like a pretty penny, until you realize that with that conversion rate, that's $75. And this is simultaneously where the scam comes in and my job gets way harder.
Come.
See, at no point are we given proper measurements of this gold bar, so we're gonna have to estimate it. Fortunately, gold bars, like animatronics from FNAF, generally come in set sizes, and judging from these two pictures side by side, I'm willing to bet that gold bar is 500 grams. Given that the game takes place in 2004, we can use this as our base price point for gold, and so from there calculate the price of gold per troy ounce. Using the movie's version of Golden Freddy, we can conclude he has a gold density of around 80% and a weight of around 350 by using Foxy's weight as a base. From here we can use the Fazbear Boolean arithmetic logic language simplified to calculate an equivalent sized chunk of animatronic and reverse engineer the price of a gold bar. Taking that information I have just made up, we can conclude that he costs around $832,680. And slicing off a clean 500 grams of that Golden Freddy goodness nets us a bar that matches up with Resident Evil 4's. Finally, converting the price of the gold bar using the price point from 2004, we get our final total for the small gold bar, $7,222.88. That seems low, doesn't it? A 500 gram bar today costs around $41,000. That's 5 times more expensive than 20 years ago. What the hell could have happened to— Oh. Getting back on topic, let's take a look and see just how much both parties made from this. For this one gold bar, the merchant paid Leon a whopping 75 USD. Which means the merchant pocketed a total of $7,147.88 in 2004 money. Not bad, especially considering Leon sells him 3 in total. Adding up all 3 of these bars makes the totals $21,443 for the merchant and $225 for Leon. Whew, a lot of talk for a single gold bar. Oh no, there are 2 large gold bars in Resident Evil 4 Remake, selling for 15,000 Pesestas apiece. And this just doesn't make sense. Comparing its size directly to the small gold bar, it is double the size, which means not only is the merchant paying Leon less per ounce of gold, I couldn't actually find the type of gold bar it was supposed to be. Still though, roughly doubling the amount of gold seems correct enough, so that comes out to around 14,445 for the merchant, with Leon's cut of that being $111. Double those amount, we'll add it to the total for both large bars, and we can mercifully move on to something else. What the fuck is that? No, really, how am I supposed to calculate any of this? Looking at this compared to the large gold bar, it's almost the same length, but about 4 times wider and 10 times taller. It's actually applicable to use a loaf of bread as a measurement. The key to finding out how much gold this is? The fact that it's specifically labeled as an ingot. Let me explain. Using the FNAF special good delivery specifications, gold ingots and animatronics are classified into general sizes, and using the Fazball system, we know that Freddy's loaf is a voluptuous 30 kilograms per cheek. We can also use the merchant's hand as a base measurement of around 6 inches, and therefore we can conclude that the bar's diameters actually parallel Freddy Asper's pretty succinctly, which means that theoretically the bar has a mass of 30 kilograms. I'm gonna shave the total size down to only 28 kilograms though, to help kind of offset the obvious wear and tear of the bar. And also because if I didn't, the number would look like that, and that's scary. But even with that taken into account, the final amount here is horrific. $404,000 in 2004 money. That is $2.2 million in today's money. Take a guess on how much Leon gets paid from this. $149 and a quarter. Don't forget the quarter. Leon's cut of this gold ingot is 27 times lower than 1%. He sells 2 of these to the merchant, meaning that the running total is now the merchant at $857,000, and Leon at a total of $745.50. And that's just the gold. There's still the jewelry, the gems, the crystals, an entire crown. But let's cool off for a moment and talk about the boss trophies for a minute.
Come.
Some boss enemies in Resident Evil 4 drop special rewards, unique items that belong to them. Mendez, for example, drops his false eye. So, how much does a false eye cost? That's actually a lot harder of a question to answer than you'd think. The only thing we know about this false eye is that, like the puppet's mask, it's made out of ceramic. But ceramic false eyes seem to range from $50 to upwards of $8,000. Mendez's eye seems like it's not custom made, being nothing more than a ball of ceramic with a red iris. So I'm gonna lowball this one, pricing the eye at around $150. Seems fair to me. Leon sells this eye to the merchant for 12,000 pesestas, or $89.55. I was sure Leon was gonna be in the green there for a minute, but no. The next boss to cover is Verdugo, the optional boss from the elevator sequence. His reward is a gold monocle, being worth 30,000 pesestas. You might think, oh, this one's gonna be simple. It's not, it never is. I hate my life. My first thought was just to look up the price of a monocle now. But Verdugo's monocle is solid gold and highly decorated, something that only comes from vintage monocles, as today's monocles are made for functionality, whatever the fuck that means. So the way I'm going to go about calculating this is by finding the amount of gold that it's made of, and then just finding out the cost of that.
Come.
Yeah, alright, look, this one was easy. I took the measurements and I put it into Google.
Come.
Right, okay, you see, this one is 2 circles. This one's fine. Move on.
Come.
Oh my god, this thing. I hate this thing. I hate it. It's the worst. It's an irregular shape for one, made of an assortment of random carvings, and the part that should theoretically be simple on paper is built like a fucking Twizzler. And this is where I pull the wool from out over your eyes. I've been doing all the measurements for this video in Canva. God, look, here's the final total. I'm so done. I hate this place. I'm in hell. And you know the worst part? I can't even be happy, because the next item also sucks. Right, last boss item on the menu today. This brass case here? Easy as cake. And given that the lip rouge doesn't cost enough to matter, I'm not calculating it. No, the issue here are these little gems. So, quick question for all you Fazballers out there at home. What carat are these? There's a lot of issues that come with calculating gemstones that aren't real, and the carat is just one of the big ones. Amethyst prices throughout the years haven't exactly been well documented, so upon solving for the raw price, we'd have to remake all of our calculations to modern day. So, how do we figure this one out,
Before you is a homunculus found in the back alley. We are unsure of its origins. It is your job to complete the Fazball's checklist before claiming it as a research aid. Or, if you should choose to, you can throw it back into the alley where you found it and forfeit payment. To continue, enter prompt in 3, 2, 1.
Yep, alright. Looks good to me. Alright, cool. I'll see you in like, what, 10 minutes? Later. Thanks to all this hard work we did, we can see the cost of this is $44,335,557 hashtag semicolon 00. Hey, this doesn't seem right, Research Monculus. Shit. He's dead? What the hell am I gonna do now? Alright, look, cut to a transition slide or something. I'll think of something real quick. The merchant doesn't only give Leon Pasestas, Leon can also use them to buy things from the merchant's store. Given how powerful the rocket launcher is, able to one-shot any enemy in the game, including rocks, and its staggering Pasesta price tag, I've gotta assume it'll have a good profit margin. The launcher is pretty clearly an RPG 7, and doing a quick scan of the cost gives us... What? Okay, this is the military manufacturing price, civilian prices would be higher. But this price is also implying that the merchant actually walked in and filled out the paperwork for it. I mean, hell, does he even buy these? Or are these just spares from Krauser's base he found? How do I even calculate this? On one hand, if I go the low route, Leon has actually gone so far he's dipped into the negative numbers. Do I just give him the high price? Call it a fucking day? Look, my homunculus is dead. I've broken the laws of reality. I think I'm going home unless, like, divine intervention points the way.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
You, Leon, you are my chosen apostle. Now, take this gun and go shoot that homeless guy 28 times.
The Punisher is an effing Fast 7 in every way except for the legally distinct name. The Fast 7, of course, debuting with its reasonable price tag of around $1,000. That number on its own, again, doesn't really mean anything for us though. We need the Punisher's price too, which, checking the wiki, tells me that it's 5 spinels. Now, of course, it shouldn't surprise you to learn that up until right now, I was damn sure that spinels weren't real. Of course, spinels are in fact real, and they are exactly as expensive as you'd think they would be. In Resident Evil 4, though, they're kind of a unique case. They're not treated like regular treasures. You can actually earn them from him. And just between you and me, there's no fucking way that these things aren't like plastic, alright? So instead of using these fake-ass gemstones, I'm going to be using the listed Pasesta buyback price, which does manage to give Leon a net profit, so theoretically we have a solid way to make some money from the merchant. That is assuming that these are stock model guns. To go on a very brief tangent here, all guns in Resident Evil 4 use a type of ammo unique to their gun class, and for most guns in the game, this makes sense. However, later on in the game, Leon can buy the Blacktail, a gun clearly modeled after a Springfield XD Defender. Now both this and the Punisher run on the same handgun ammo, the ammo that's denoted as 9mm in-game. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the 5.7 uses 5.7 by 28mm. So, no. Despite the fact that this looks exactly like a 5.7, their inner workings are entirely different, because it's just not the gun it's being sold as. I guess, at the end of the day, there really is no way to beat the merchant. No matter what it is that you do, you lose. He gets rich, and Leon lives off a government salary, which, I guess now that I think that really isn't that bad. And you know what? I think all that is a fitting conclusion. But what if it wasn't? What if there just so happened to be a weapon of infinite potential that I had been dancing around all video?
Infinite rocket launcher. right there, Leon.
Ada?
You don't seem surprised. Interesting.
No thanks, bro. Ashley!
Poof, there go the car.
Am I the asshole for not telling a regular customer the exact value of the things he sells me? Alright, so here's the deal. Oh, no! My Reddit gold!